Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Q&A with Armen. And the reason I wanted to do this video is because I got a question pretty shortly after the Jake Paul and Ben Askren boxing match that was held by a Triller, where Ben was KO'd pretty badly. I mean, he got up, but it was pretty obvious that he was out of it. The fight was stopped. So the question was whether I thought that the fight was fixed. And so, like in a short answer, the answer is no. If you saw the punch, if you saw it, land from multiple angles, it landed flush, it landed clean, it landed hard. Ben did a good job by getting up, but to be honest, he was out. I mean, his eyes, his body, the way his movement was, he was kind of out. If they didn't stop it, most likely he would have got viciously KO'd within the next few seconds. So, I mean, I personally think that that was a pretty good decision on the part of the referee. Um, Josh Thompson and John McCarthy did an episode where they discussed this, and John thought that that was not the case. That Ben always moves like that, which is there's some truth to that. He definitely does have a mopey type of look. So or mopey type of walk, I should say. So definitely that could have been it. However, the fact that he got hit so hard and he fell so fast, it does give you an indication that he was probably going to be KO'd again very soon. However, I mean, John is right in the fact that people paid money for this. The ref um, should have considered it more. I still think it was a good decision, but a lot of people would have loved for it to go on for a little bit longer, but those people are the same ones that probably would have loved for Ben to get viciously KO'd, which I was not one of them. As far as it being fixed, I mean, yeah, that's ridiculous. Just from let's just talk about the promotion itself, right? I mean, it was a terrible promotion, terrible way to conduct any kind of event. The commentators were horrible. I mean, you had Snoop yelling out random things. They all looked like they were intoxicated or under the influence of something. They weren't making any kind of sense. Um, I mean, they had different kinds of um, musical, events in between the fights, which was okay, but it made it look really strange. I mean, I didn't know what I was watching. Um, Frank Mir did his thing. It was very lackluster. And then Ben and Jake Paul came out. So one thing that DC said was that Jay, Ben looked very nervous, and it was the first time that he saw him be that nervous before a fight, and even during this whole interaction, like before the press conference and during the press conference and everything like that, Ben did not seem like he was afraid or nervous or anything like that. But once he got out there, he did look timid, he did look nervous. And let's just look at the optics, right? I mean, we don't want to necessarily judge a man strictly on his physique, but when it comes to striking, we do tend to look at people's physiques in boxing. Even you have some bigger guys; they're usually in the heavier weights, but you don't really see like Ben's body type all that much in the lower weights. And Ben has had his share of injuries and everything like that. So I'm not trying to poke fun at him or anything like that. He's a world-renowned fighter, so definitely shouldn't talk about anything with regards to his accomplishments. But as far as his physique is concerned, the optics look bad. Like Ben looked bad. He looked physically worse than I've ever seen him before. Now, that might have been because of the way the boxing shorts sit up and they kind of pull everything in. So his stomach might have been kind of, kind of sitting in a different angle as opposed to when he was fighting MMA. But still, I mean, Jake looked in great shape. He looked ready. He looked excited. Ben looked timid. He looked like he was in terrible shape. And then let's just look at the facts, right? Like the facts were that you had a young guy in Jake Paul, very young, very athletic, trains boxing strictly. And then you had Ben, who wasn't in his prime, had major surgeries and injuries, and has been fighting for 1,000 years. You know, it was just there was no comparison. Like Jake Paul picked literally the easiest fight he could have picked. Now the problem is that there was a narrative that was sent out there by predominantly Chael Sonnen, who made it seem like his comment was, "Oh, well, Ben is a competitor. Oh, Ben is a competitor. This is a boxing match, but Ben's not going to come to box. He's going to come and compete." That doesn't make any sense. Chael didn't know what the heck he was talking about. Maybe he was trying to get more views, which I'm sure it helped, but I mean, I don't know what that means. I mean, he's competing. They're all competitors. They're competing in the sport of boxing. That doesn't make any sense. They're there to box. Ben is a boxer at that moment. I mean, to say, oh, well, one guy's a competitor, one guy's a boxer, and the competitor is going to win because he knows how to win. There's only one way to win, is to hit and not get hit. So, if Ben can't do that, it doesn't matter, like what you're saying about him being a competitor. So, yeah, so Chael put that out there. He put out that theory that Ben was somehow gonna clean, Jake's clock, and that was a very ridiculous and crazy statement. But because it's Chael, because people know who he is, because there's people writing him, that kind of moved forward. So a lot of people started believing that. Of course, everyone kind of knew that the chances of Ben winning are slim to none. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? Like how many? I remember Brandon Schaub went on to Joe Rogan, and they had a conversation about this, and then Brendan was talking about that whole aspect. Oh, he's a competitor. Oh, this, look at these credentials. And Joe's like, every time Brendan would name a credential, Joe would be like, yeah, but what was that in? Oh, wrestling. Oh, how did he win all his fights? Oh, wrestling. So it's like everything he's done was grappling based. He's never beaten anybody with strikes. Especially we're talking about strikes, um, in a stand-up scenario. I think he might have TKO'd Shin Naoki in one, but I mean, it's still grappling based. I mean, it's nothing to compare boxing to. And then you're also talking about ranges and things like that. If you go and listen to Icy Mike's video recently on this whole Jake Paul and Ben Askren thing, he mentions something that's very interesting, and I believe a lot of people are missing. A lot of classes when they teach for MMA, when they go to the hands portion of it, they'll say, or the stand-up portion of it, they'll say it's boxing, or we're teaching boxing. And he admits that even in his school they do that. But really what it should be called is punching and kicking, not boxing, because boxing is a whole different game. It's a whole different game. It's a whole different way of moving. It's a different distance. I mean, everything is different about it. So to say boxing, it's not it's easier because it's easier just to say, oh, boxing, people know what that is. But really what you're doing is you're just learning how to punch in a MMA scenario. You're not really learning the game or the art of boxing. And I mean, as far as like on the street is concerned, it's arguable which one would be better. I would say the punching and kicking for MMA would be better in the street because again, I mean, you're not boxing in the street, but there's obviously like crossover and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so it comes down to the fact that Ben just didn't have any way to win this fight. He really didn't. I mean, short of him just landing a crazy right hand, which he did, he landed a really good right hand right before he got knocked out, unfortunately. So, I mean, he tagged him on the left side of Jake Paul's head. So, and that was great. That was a good move. But it just wasn't enough. So, I mean, to say that the fight was fixed, that's ridiculous. I mean, fixed fights, you wouldn't need to fix this fight. I mean, you really wouldn't need to fix it. If there was a reason to fix it, it would be fix it towards favoring Ben, not favoring him. I mean, Ben was outclassed in this fight from the beginning to end. There would be no reason to fix it. I mean, he's fighting a younger, healthier, uh, faster, stronger opponent, and one that only does boxing. So again, no reason to fix this fight. So, buddy, thanks for the question. A lot of people, are thinking about this right now. But yeah, if anybody thinks this fight is fixed, that's crazy. This fight was not fixed. It didn't need to be fixed. I mean, Jake Paul fixed it by cleaning Ben's clock.